Welcome to the first session of our cooking demo and nutrition education series. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Olivia. I am a graduate nutrition student and dietetic intern here at Cedar Crest College, and I'm so excited to share with you today our presentation titled The Basics of Balanced Eating. So today I'm going to cover a few components within the realm of balanced eating. So my goal is to help you build healthy habits and expand on your current nutrition knowledge, specifically learning how you can eat healthy as a college student. So I'll spend the next 20 minutes or so reviewing the benefits of balanced eating, how to prepare or build a balanced meal, how to eat healthy as a busy college student on a budget. I'll also offer some suggestions of dorm-friendly meals that you can try out yourself and provide you with some information on campus and community resources. So before we begin, I feel it's important to address some common nutrition misconceptions that you either may have heard before or even thought yourself at some point. Things like carbs are bad, it's too expensive to eat healthy, I don't have time to prepare a healthy meal, and healthy foods are boring. These ideas are actually really common, especially with the influence of diet trends and social media nowadays. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to break down these myths and we're going to look at balanced eating in a way that's realistic, doable, and actually enjoyable. First, we're going to start off with why it's important to eat a healthy, balanced diet. So when we talk about balanced eating, a lot of people immediately think about physical health, and that's for good reason. Giving your body the right nutrients can have a really big impact on how you feel day to day. So for example, eating a variety of whole foods like our fruits and vegetables, our whole grains and our lean proteins can help to improve our energy levels throughout the day. And that's because we're giving our body the right fuel that it needs to function well. A healthy diet also supports strong bones and muscles, which is especially important for college students who are still building lifelong habits and bone mass, and especially so for our student athletes or those that are physically active. Good nutrition also helps with digestion too, especially when you're eating enough fiber and staying hydrated. And it can also lower your risk for chronic diseases like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even some cancers. And if you're thinking about weight, balanced eating helps with that too, without needing to follow extreme diets or trends that we might see on social media that we know don't really last long term. So balanced eating also plays a major role in our mental health, which is just as important. So certain nutrients that we get from our whole foods, like our omega-3s, B vitamins, and antioxidants, can support better brain function, which is going to help you focus and stay sharp when you're in class or while you're studying, especially for these finals coming up in a few weeks. So the food that you eat also influences your mood. So for example, if we're eating diets that are really high in processed sugars and fats and sodiums on a pretty regular basis, this can actually lead to us having a short burst of increased energy followed by an energy crash and sometimes even irritability. While having those nutrient-rich whole foods like our fruits and vegetables and whole grains can help us to feel more stable and positive throughout the day. And then lastly, something that often gets overlooked, nutrition affects our sleep. So eating regular, balanced meals and limiting things like excessive caffeine. I'm not talking about 1 cup a day, but consistent, excessive amounts of caffeine or having even heavy meals or lots of over snacking before bed can lead to decreased sleep quality. And we all know that having quality sleep is going to help with managing stress and doing well academically. To balanced eating, it's really about building consistent habits and making the most of what's available to you. So the key points listed here can help guide your everyday food choices without it feeling overwhelming. So first, starting off with eating 3 meals a day. Skipping meals, especially breakfast, can lead to low energy, poor concentration, and it can even lead to overeating later in the day. So eating regularly, having 3 meals a day, 1 to 2 snacks in between is going to help fuel your body and it's going to help keep your metabolism steady. So even if you're short on time, something quick like yogurt with fruit or a peanut butter sandwich even counts. We want to include carbs, proteins, and fats. So each of these macronutrients play an important role. So like we said before about that misconception of carbs are bad, that is actually further than the truth. Carbs provide our body with the fuel that it needs. It's the primary preferred source of energy. So this comes from things like our rice, breads, and fruit. And it actually helps to maintain our blood sugar levels throughout the day. Proteins help to repair and build our muscles, and it also helps with satiety, or that feeling of fullness. So these are items like our eggs, beans, and chicken. And then lastly, having healthy fats supports our brain health. It also helps with nutrient absorption, hormone production, and it also helps a little bit with that feeling of fullness or satiety, like I mentioned. So think of things like nuts, seeds, avocados, or oils like olive oil and canola oil. So trying to include just a little bit of each of these in our meals will help us to stay satisfied and energized throughout the day. We also want to aim for 5 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. Now this can sound near impossible and very daunting, and I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with that. Actually, 1 in 5 adults, maybe even less than, in the United States are actually consuming 5 or more servings of fruits and vegetables every day. So this is a marathon, it's not a race. It's okay to work your way up to 5 servings of fruits and veggies. Even getting 1 serving of each a day is great. It's okay to start small and build your way up. But these are going to be foods that provide us with fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants that our body needs. And remember, fresh is not the only option here. Frozen and canned fruits and veggies are just as nutritious, they're often more affordable, and they last longer. We also want to try to limit added sugars and fats. So this doesn't mean that you can't enjoy a sweet treat or go out, to Wawa or Chick-fil-A with your friends, but this is just about being mindful of how often they show up in your day. So added sugars and unhealthy fats can be snuck into our drinks, like our sodas and our energy drinks. It can come into our snacks, or we might even see it in things like sauces, something that we don't even think about. So reading food labels is something that can be really helpful in making those informed choices. And then lastly, choosing water. So staying hydrated supports our digestion, it supports our focus, and improves our energy levels. Water is always going to be the best option. So something that you can start to do if you don't already is aiming to carry a refillable bottle with you, especially between classes or when you're being physically active. Things like unsweetened teas or milks are good beverage choices as well. So My Plate is a great guide for building a balanced plate at any meal. It's flexible, easy to remember, and it works whether you're eating in the dining hall, cooking for yourself, or you're grabbing something quick on the go, or eating at a restaurant with friends or family. So the key points of My Plate are to aim to make half of your plates fruits and veggies, aiming for a variety of colors to provide you with those necessary nutrients. Like I said, fresh is great, but canned and frozen count too, and they can be more budget friendly and last longer. And then, like I also mentioned before, carbs and proteins, we want to include those. I like to say that those should be buddies on the plate. We want to aim to pair them together at every meal to help provide us with steady energy throughout the day and keep us feeling satisfied between meals and snacks. You can even find some budget-friendly and shelf-stable carb and protein items, such as canned corn, canned peas, canned potatoes, our rice and our pasta for our carbs, and even items like canned beans, canned tuna, and canned chicken are great protein options that aren't going to break the bank. And then dairy is something that provides our body with nutrients like protein, carbs, and especially calcium, which is important for our bone health. So think of things like adding milk, yogurt, and low-fat cheeses. Now, this is not about being perfect. It's just about using My Plate as a flexible guide. I'm somebody that I like visuals, so if you're like me, sometimes just having this can just be a great visual reference to refer to. Some meals won't look exactly like this, and that is okay. Like I said, it's a marathon, it's not a race. If it's something that we need to work our way towards it, that is perfectly fine. There's no one right way to do it. It's just a helpful tool to keep in mind when you're planning what to eat. So I invite you to check out myplate.com and use the calculator tool, because that's going to help create a personalized My Plate plan based on your individual factors. So things like age, sex, height, weight, and activity level. And then it's going to give you more insight on calories and servings from each food group that you can start working towards. So, eating healthy on a budget. So, this ties into that common misconception that I mentioned that healthy eating is expensive. Now, as a college student, I can understand that money is a limited resource for a lot of us, so it can feel at times like healthy eating is impossible, but that's not necessarily the case. I will say that if you do have a dining plan and meal swipes, get your money's worth and use them at Parkhurst Dining because they do offer a variety of nutritious and balanced meals. However, if you either want a break from the dining hall or you want to try preparing a meal for yourself at home or in your dorm room or residency hall, listed here are some great tips for how to stretch your dollars. So first off, like I mentioned a few times, choosing frozen and canned foods. So these are more shelf stable and they are also more budget friendly and will last longer. Buying store brand. So if you ever go grocery shopping, you'll usually notice that when there is a name brand item on the shelf, such as like a cereal, for example, there is also usually going to be a store brand option that is going to be cheaper. So it's a great way to stretch your dollars. Also checking flyers and apps for coupons and sales. So before it used to be flyers, but nowadays in our tech forward society, we have apps for everything. So you can download a few grocery store apps that you frequent on your phone and you can check it weekly to see what sales and deals they have going on for the week and you can plan ahead. And then 4, keeping it simple. I feel like a lot of times we think that in order to make a balanced meal and make something that's tasty, we have to be big and elaborate and choose these ingredients that we're only going to use one time or buy all these spices to add to it. And that's not necessarily the case. You just need a few items and sometimes a little bit of research into some simple meals to make, and you can make something that is tasty and is not going to break the bank. And then here I have listed just a copy of the handout that you can all have access to at the end of this presentation that you can either keep in your car, in your dorm room. If you have grocery bags, you can keep them in there for when you go shopping. And it just gives you some nice tips when you're at the store on how you can eat healthy on a budget. So I already mentioned some like buying store brand, choosing frozen and canned options, checking for those coupons, but listed here are some other such as buying produce in season. So produce when you're buying it in its peak season is usually going to be cheaper than when you're buying it out of season. So I just have listed here what fruits and vegetables are in season when. And then also limiting processed foods, just because sometimes our frozen meals, our cookies and our chips, our sodas are actually going to cost more than those fresh and healthy foods. So when you plan your shopping list, maybe consider only choosing one of those, comfort foods, those snack foods that you like, and then try to substitute others with a healthy alternative. So eating healthy on the go pairs with the misconception where we may think that we don't have time to eat healthy. And as a college student, you'll notice that your schedule is likely going to differ from those around you, but with a little bit of planning, you can incorporate some balanced meals and snacks into your schedule, finding something that works for you. So as you build on this habit, you'll find what's going to work best, whether it's planning around your schedule a week at a time, or maybe a day or two in advance, or even the day of, as we know that our schedules won't likely exactly be the same week to week. So this is where meal and snack prep can come in handy when we know that we'll have an especially busy week or day ahead of us, especially so, like I said, as we're nearing finals. So with meal and snack prep, this can include doing a little local shopping at the campus resource pantry, so you can stock up on some staple items like rice, pasta, canned veggies, and they even do have some comfort snacks there. And we can pair that with a quick trip to the grocery store like Weis, that's right down the road, and grab some other items that you might need. So if you have a lighter day in your schedule, this is a great time to just set aside 30 minutes even up to an hour, and you can prep a few simple meals or quick snacks that you can eat on the go between classes, before or after practice, or while studying, which is going to save you time on those busier days. And then you don't have to worry about making a meal since you prepped it ahead of time. So then we also want to snack smart. So this is just keeping it simple. So I have listed here some examples. So you can, grab a piece of fruit if you're going to be in the library and studying, or if you have a pretty jam-packed day with classes and you don't have time to stop back at your dorm room or at the dining hall to grab food. You can bring a piece of fruit with you, some string cheese. You can do nuts or a trail mix or even protein bars. And then you can keep non-perishable items in your dorm room or house since they're not going to spoil quickly. And then also we want to try to make healthier fast food choices. So I believe that everything belongs in a balanced diet. It's just all about moderation. And like we said earlier, just about being mindful at how often these packaged or fast foods show up in our diet. But something that we can also do is try to make some healthier choices a little bit over time. So this could be like choosing grilled meats when you're dining out at a restaurant instead of the crispy options. This can also include adding extra veggies to the side of your dish or getting a side salad. And then also focusing on smaller portions. A lot of times when we go to eat out at restaurants, usually they're giving you 2 to 3 times the portion sizes that we really need to have. So this is also a great way to save money because if you get a box right away and pack up half of it, you can save that for a meal for another day. And then you're also being more mindful of your portion sizes, which is going to be helpful with balanced eating. So these storm-friendly meals are quick, affordable, and they do not require a full kitchen. Just a microwave, a mini fridge, and a few basic supplies that you can typically find in your residency hall or at home. So the microwave pasta primavera, it's a plant-based veggie-packed pasta dish that you can make entirely in the microwave. You can use frozen mixed veggies or canned versions, and you can also use pantry-friendly pasta that you can get from the resource pantry. It's customizable, it's filling, and it's great for lunch or dinner. And it's also great to customize to what portion size you want. So again, this can help with meal prep if you want to make a larger portion and save a few throughout the week. That's a great idea. The microwavable mug omelet is ready in just a few minutes, so this can be great if you're somebody like me that likes to sleep in and then you're running out the door to lecture. So this just takes a couple minutes out of your day, and it's a great way to get in some protein. And you can also toss in whatever veggies you like, whether it's fresh, frozen, or canned. And again, it's easy to personalize, and it's great use of some pantry staples like maybe some canned veggies that you might find, and eggs if they're hopefully not too expensive. And then we have our overnight oats. These are again perfect for busy mornings, or you can have them as a snack or even a dessert, depending on your liking. You just mix oats with milk or a dairy-free option, and you let it sit overnight. And then you can add in things like fruit, peanut butter, cinnamon, whatever your heart's desire is to make it your own. And then lastly, we have our crunchy tuna wraps and our crunchy ramen salad. So these are both great no-cook meals. So the tuna wraps are high in protein and they're super simple to make. Just some canned tuna, some fresh or canned veggies, and a tortilla. And then the ramen salad uses uncooked ramen, which Resource Pantry usually has that, so you can always find it there. And then you can just go to the grocery store and grab a pre-made bag of coleslaw mix. Or if you have the veggies to do it on hand, you can do it yourself. So all of these meals are simple, they don't require a lot of time or ingredients, and many of the items can be found at the campus pantry, or you can find them nearby at the grocery store. So they're proof that eating balanced in a dorm is totally doable. And the links to the recipes are located on the slide here, so this will be emailed to you all at the end of the presentation if you'd like, so that you have access to the recipes to make them out yourself. All right, and then lastly, we have our resources and support. So we have the Campus Resource Pantry, which is located in Butts Hall. It is anonymous and it is open 24/7. You just use your student ID to swipe in, and there's no limit to how many times that you need to go there. It's restocked with items on a weekly basis. So these are our shelf-stable items like snacks, water, juices, pasta, rice, canned vegetables. They also will have frozen and refrigerated items as often as they can, like frozen breakfast foods, microwavable meals, frozen veggies, and even some dairy items like milk and cheese sticks. And they also even carry feminine products, so it's not just food products that they have. So if you find that you need feminine products, shampoo, conditioner, or laundry detergent, check them out. And then we have the Kellyn Foundation. This is a great community resource. So they strive to help making the healthy choice the easy choice. They prepare plant-based meals, baked goods, and ingredients can be purchased from them like fresh produce and granola. They also work with elementary schools all over the Lehigh Valley in their school education and garden programs. So what they do is they build garden beds in elementary schools and they help teach the kids about growing their food from seed to harvest. But this is something that is great because the whole community can reap the rewards of this, as these gardens are for everyone to benefit from and not just the children. So I invite you to connect with Lindsay and Amanda while they're here today, and you can learn more about any elementary schools near you, how you can get involved if this is something that interests you, and see if you can volunteer with Kellyn. And then even better, you can also get access to free fresh produce. So take advantage of Lindsay and Amanda while they are here today and just ask them a little bit more about the Campus Resource Pantry and Kellyn Foundation if you want to learn more about resources in your area. And you can also do a simple web search on some other food banks and pantries that are near you. And if you don't live in the area and you go home during breaks, you can also see what resources you have in your area there. Here is just a slide of the references that I used. And that is it. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to the presentation today. I hope that you found at least one thing valuable. If you wouldn't mind, we just ask that you please take a few minutes to fill out our survey. And if you have any questions while you're here, please don't hesitate to ask Lindsay or Amanda, or you can also reach out to me. They have my email, and they are more than happy to provide that to you. So let me know if you have any questions. We are here to support you. Have a great day.